Welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you could join us for today's STEAM Time program. We are going to be having some fun with invisible ink today. So I hope you've got some supplies ready, and if not, take notes and we'll show you how to do it afterwards. My name is Lisa. I'm with the Tampa-Hillsborough County Public Library, and I'm so excited that you can join us for this summer edition of our STEAM Time program. So as we go along, we'll take plenty of pauses so you can stop and see what's on the screen. But keep in mind that after this program, we will have a handout available that you'll be able to download. And that handout is going to have all of the supplies and the instructions and the step-by-step. And we will also have that posted on the library's YouTube channel. So if you go to the library's YouTube channel, that's at Tampa Hills Lib. We'll put a link to that in the chat box at the end of the program as well. So you can check out a recording of this program and then follow along with the handout and make this fun activity at home. All right, well, with that out of the way, I think we're going to jump right in and get started. We are going to look at our goals first. So we're going to look at what invisible ink is, kind of what it's made of and how it's used. And then we're going to look into how it works, the different kinds there are and why they work the way they work. And then we're going to work on this activity together, and we're going to make a secret message that one of our friends can decode. And we'll have a special summer reading message maybe for you guys. All right, so what is invisible ink? So invisible ink is something that we're going to use to make a hidden message. So looking at it one way, you won't know that the message is there until you use some science to reveal it. So that way you can maybe write your friend a note about which one of the books on the Sunshine State Readers list is your favorite and maybe which one you didn't like as much. A lot of fun to be had that way. But there are several different ways that we can make this message happen. So the three big types that we're going to be looking at are acid-base reaction, or chemicals that are going to react to acidity or alkalinity. And that's the one that we're going to be actually do today in our program. Another kind of reaction is an oxidation reaction. So you might have heard of oxidation before. That's kind of like when iron gets rusty, so it changes because of that. So that's one other way that you can make an invisible ink. And the other way is with heat reactions. So if you have a message and you hold it up to a hot lamp or light bulb, or maybe you run a clothes iron over it, and then it reveals the message after it's been treated with heat. So we're not going to mess with that one today. I didn't want to risk burning my fingers with a clothes iron. So we are going to be doing an acid-base reaction today. So messages are going to be encoded. So we're going to encode it and make it secret by writing the message with a base or an alkaline solution. So alkaline is another way of saying it's a base. And then we're going to let it dry completely. And once it's dry, we can write a decoy message over top of it so nobody suspects that there's a hidden message behind it. And then we're going to decode it by using an acid or an acidic liquid that we will use as a chemical indicator. So it's going to show up what's hidden there. So this is just going to be a reaction between the acid and the base, so between the different pH levels that will make that message appear. All right, keep going in. So we said we were going to do a chemical reaction today for our secret message. So what is an acid? What's a base? What's pH? What is all this business we're talking about? So a substance that loses a hydrogen ion, so that H+, when dissolved in water, that's what is classically known as an acid. And on the opposite end of that, the base is a substance that loses a hydroxide ion, so that OH negative when it's dissolved in water. So you've got the scale from 0 to 14, that's the pH scale, and that's based on the hydrogen that is present in the acid solution. So if you ever want to maybe learn a little bit more about this, maybe it wasn't covered in your science class in school, we have tons of things at the library that you can study this on your own and get a little bit more information. We've got that Science Online resource that has a lot of fun stuff, and that is where I got this here chart. So this shows you what we're working with today. So today we are going to be using baking soda to encode the message, and then we're going to use something that's more acid. And these are the different levels that we're looking at. Okay. So we won't get too much into the pH scale and how it scales logarithmically, where it gets the difference between this and this, but between 6 and 5 doesn't look like a lot. But if you look at those numbers there, it is huge, huge difference. So let's jump into our activity. So for our supplies, we need baking soda, water, a small cup, doesn't have to be anything fancy, some paper to make your markings on or to put your secret message on, and oops, let me get this person, there we go. A paintbrush or a cotton swab, something that you're going to use to make your marks, a sponge or a paper towel or a cotton round, anything that you can use to kind of dab a liquid with is going to work fine. You'll want a pencil so that you can write your decoy message, and then some grape juice or some kind of a dark acid to use as your indicator. All right, so let me get set up here. I'm going to, once we're done with this slide, change the camera view so that you can see my work surface as we go along. So see if we can leave this up in the background with our instructions and still pop over to our slide. Oh, I don't think we're going to be able to change that view at the same time, but let's go over our instructions here real quick, and then just know that the full instructions will be available in that handout for you to download, so you don't have to worry about following along exactly on the screen. So we're going to start by mixing our baking soda and our water. So that's just equal amounts. It doesn't have to be a specific amount, just enough liquid that you can write your message with. So it doesn't have to be an exact like teaspoon or tablespoon or anything. Just make sure whatever amount you use of the one, use the same amount with the other. And you're going to mix it up real good, and it's going to look really milky. And you're going to let that dry all the way. Usually will take just a couple of minutes, and then we'll write our decoy message. Once your decoy message is written, you can give it to your friend that also knows the secret to unlocking that message. And when they get that message, all they have to do is dab that indicator liquid on top to reveal the secret message behind your decoy message. So that is the real quick of how it's going to go. I am going to go ahead and pop over here and show you my work surface. All right, so I hope you can see that. So for the folks at home that were having trouble seeing me on screen, are you able to see the work surface at least on our project here? I hope so. If I can't get that moved over. Okay, there we go. Now it's working. So we're going to start by mixing up our invisible ink. So I have here baking soda and just regular H2O, or water here. So what I'm going to do is, remember how I said you needed a cup to mix it up in? So these are just little jam jars, little yogurt jars, nothing fancy here, but I was going to show you what I use a lot for these types of programs. I like using old egg crates. They're really, really helpful for mixing up messy stuff that you don't want to bother having to clean up afterwards, because you can just kind of throw that away when you're done. So we'll start here, and I'm just going to get a scoop of the baking soda. I'm just going to dump it in that one there. And I'm going to get a scoop of my H2O, my water, and put that in as well. And then once you have it all in there, you can use your paintbrush or whatever you're going to use to write your message. You can use that and stir it up. So you can either use a paintbrush. You'll probably want one that has that's pretty fine so that you can write your message nice and neat. It's harder to write it if you use a big, thick brush. So use the thinnest one that you have, or you can use a cotton swab. So a cotton swab like this will work just fine. And we'll just go in here and stir it up. And all that's doing is mixing up the baking soda and the water so we can get it nice and mixed up. And you see how white that looks? It's really milky. It looks like almost like skim milk. So like a thin milk once you have it all mixed up. And then you'll see that my Q-tip got really soaked really badly, so it's not great for using for writing anymore. So I'm just going to get rid of that one and get it out of the way. I'm going to use a little piece of paper towel to clean my finger. And then you can just use a fresh Q-tip to dip in there and to use as your brush. So let me move this out of the way. We'll get a clean sheet of paper here. And I'm not great at writing with Q-tips, so I'm going to use my brush here. Start writing my message. Now, remember how I said that we're going to have to let it dry completely before we can write our decoy? So, since we knew that was going to happen, I went ahead and did a practice paper. And with that practice paper, it's nice and dry now, so I can show you what it looks like. But I'll show you that I'm just dipping in my brush into the milky baking soda water and making that marks on the paper. So you can see, like, you really can't see that at all, even though I just wrote all over it. So you can kind of see it reflecting a little bit because it's wet, right? Well, once that's dry, you're going to see even less than that. So I'll show you what it looks like dry. This is the one that I did earlier today. You can kind of see that there's some bumps on here where the baking soda is kind of thick and it didn't fully get absorbed into the water, right? So if you want to hide those bumps and make it so it's even harder for somebody to see, you can just take your paper towel or your cotton swab or whatever you're going to use to dip into your indicator solutions and just kind of brush it off really lightly. You don't want to brush too hard, but kind of brush it off like that. You see that there on the side? That just fell right off. Once you've got it kind of clean, you can see, oh, no secret messages here. This is just a regular blank piece of paper, nothing fancy. Now you can write your decoy message. So I'll write my decoy message here. And I'll say, dear pen pal. You have a summer pen pal? Do we still do pen pals in school? All right, dear pen pal, I hope that I win cool prizes for reading this summer. Your pal, Lisa. So that's just the message that we're going to see here. Nothing to see here. No secret code hidden behind there. Do you want to see what it looks like when we reveal that secret message? So remember how I said you wanted an acid to use because the baking soda, we've got our base that's soaked into the paper, and we now want an acid to make that show up. I said, grape juice, blueberry juice, some kind of a dark juice that has acids in it is going to work great for you. Well, friends, I did not do a good job preparing for this activity, and I forgot to bring my grape juice. And then I remembered I have something in my kitchen that I can use instead of grape juice, and I can use turmeric. Turmeric is an orange spice. It looks like this. It's just a powdery, orangey spice that you can use in food. It gives it a lot of color and flavor. And if you use that and you dissolve it, you can use that for your secret indicator. So I have a brush here that you can use. You can also just dip in cotton round like this. So we can dip in a cotton round and you're going to see, oh, it's really orange. And then you can just kind of dab on your paper. And oh, goodness. I see a secret message starting to appear. So you're going to want to kind of dab like this up and down instead of smearing. If you smear it like this, you might brush away too much of your secret message. See what's hidden under there. Have you guessed yet what it says? It does not say, remember to drink your Ovaltine or anything like that. There's no little Orphan Annie secret message here. Oh, we have revealed the secret message. Here we go. So that secret message is your key to unlocking some cool tech prizes and stuff for your summer reading activities. So if you haven't yet, remember to sign up for those summer reading prizes. hcplc.org/summer is going to have all that information for you. See if we can't pop that over to our next view. All right, so yeah, our first 3 steps were to mix up our baking soda, water, and then we wrote that out there. We let it dry. We wrote our decoy message, and then we revealed it. All right, friends. Hope you've been getting your questions in as we went along, but while you're typing those questions in, I'll tell you about some more stuff that you can look at if you want some more secret messages or anything like that. So National Geographic Kids actually has this project in it. They use a little bit of a different ingredient on it, but it works very, very similarly. So if you go to National Geographic Kids through the library's website, hcplc.org/kids, and when you're in there, you just write invisible ink into the search bar in that Nat Geo Kids site, and it'll take you right to the magazine edition that has that activity in it with the instructions and their versions of the ingredients and everything. And if you want to learn more about the pH scale and difference between an acid and a base and why they might react with each other, I got that chart and a lot of information from Science Online. That's our Science and Science Fair resource page that has not just like encyclopedia information, but they also have experiments on there that you can either do virtually. They have a way that you can do some of them on their website, or you can download them and then do them at home in your kitchen or at school, wherever. So yeah, that is meant just for kids and students. hcplc.org/kids is where both of those are. And I found some more science experiments that we might do in future STEAM Time episodes in this book that is available right now in Hoopla. It's Cool Creations. It shows you how to make slime and crystals and different recipe for invisible ink, tons and tons of fun stuff. And you can get that through Hoopla. You just go through the app there, type in Super Science or Science Experiments, and it will be one of the first books that pops up for you. So pretty easy activities in that book that you still want to parent around to make sure that you're being safe and that you have permission to use the kitchen stuff for it. But these are all activities that can be done with not a ton of direct supervision. So if you're a parent looking for an activity that you want to be a little bit more hands off with, you will find a ton of fun activities in this book. All right, Q&A time, folks. I hope you've been getting those questions in. Let's see if I can pop up my chat box here. Okay. All right, so it looks like some of you have done this experiment with different ingredients before. Yes, so there are definitely tons of ways that you can do this. The big thing that you want is you want something that's going to give you a reaction between the acid and the base. So the easiest way that that we have to do it for the most part is using the baking soda with like a dark fruit juice. Someone asks if you can use lemon juice, and yes, you can definitely use lemon juice, but it's not going to make as drastic of a difference. So if you're using lemon juice, it's not going to show up really strongly because the lemon juice is so pale, right? So if you're using that with the paper, it's just not going to give you that strong of a reaction. The reason that the turmeric is a little bit different is that the turmeric, the chemical in there that's that active ingredient, is almost like litmus paper, where it actually has a full color change when it reacts with that alkaline substance. So yeah, lemon juice won't give you as strong of a reaction. You're definitely better off using a darker berry juice, something along those lines. You maybe could try it with lemon juice that has just a little bit of food coloring added to it. That might work. I have a feeling that the paper would pick up the pigments from the food coloring a little bit too much, and you, again, might not have as strong of a result from it. Same with the folks that are asking if you can substitute a lime. Yeah, a pale color juice like that is just not going to give you enough contrast to really see the reaction well. So a darker fruit juice is definitely a better option. All right, so someone is asking what the channel is called. I'm going to drop a link here in the chat box. So it is youtube.com/Tampa Hills Lib. And when you're on that YouTube channel, you'll see we have different playlists. So we have a playlist in there that is all about STEM programs and STEAM programs. You're going to find all of our STEAM time activities posted there. It usually takes us about a week or two after the live program before we'll have it on our YouTube channel. So give it a little bit of time before you look for it. But usually within a week or two, it'll be on our STEM or STEAM playlist. Someone asked about pomegranate. I'm not sure if pomegranate is going to be great. I haven't tried that one myself. I'm assuming pomegranate juice is fairly acidic as well, but I truly don't know. You'd have to look that up and see if it's an acid, or heck, just give it a try, see if it works. The nice thing about this activity is that you really don't need a lot of ingredients. The amount of baking soda I used for that, just for this message, I could have used less than a quarter of a teaspoon. You want a 1-to-1 ratio, and it really depends on how much you want to write or draw for your message. But I mean, in general, you would need probably a teaspoon or a tablespoon at most of the baking soda, and then an equal amount of water with that. And then for your solution to reveal it, again, just enough really to wet your sponge or your paper towel or whatever you're going to use to dab it. So, maybe a couple of tablespoons at most for that. So that's the nice thing about this, is if the one solution doesn't work to reveal it, you can try a different one. It might be fun to do an experiment where you have your secret message on your piece of paper, and then you mark off different sections and test different juices that you have and see which one gives you a better reaction. And maybe that'll give you an idea as to which one is more acidic than the others. You could have your own version of a litmus test to check the pH of your juices. That might be a fun way to do the activity if you have multiple things that you'd like to try out. All right. Make sure I haven't missed any of your messages here. Okay, someone else is asking, what are all the things you can use? Honestly, it doesn't have to be a fruit juice. It can be any kind of liquid that has more of an acid content to it. So whatever is going to be safe for you to use in your kitchen at home with your kiddos, up to you. Like I said, I would just try the different juices for that. Let me see if I can get my link for you here for the handout. Bear with me, I'll pop that in the chat here. Okay, so first I've got a link for our program survey in here. So if you click on that, that'll take you to a survey about the program. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what kinds of programs you'd like to see in the future. If there's a specific topic that you'd like to see that we haven't covered yet, definitely let us know. Let us know in that survey that we want to make these programs for you. So we would love to know what you're gonna want to see. So I'm giving you a link here in the chat box for the handout. It's not going to be live until after this program, so it won't work for you right now. But if you want to bookmark it, you can save that for later, and you'll be able to download the handout that has the instructions and the ingredients and some recommendations on how you can do the activity. And then on the other side, it'll have a little log where you can kind of chart what your results were and what you used, and kind of keep track of your scientific efforts. But I think that has all of our questions. So if I hope I haven't missed anyone. If you think of a question later, then please reach out to us. You can reach us at hcplc.org. There's /contact that's going to have all of our contact information on it. Looks like we lost our slides here. Let's see if we can't bring our slide back up here for you. There we go. So yeah, hcplc.org/contact has all of our contact information, including our Ask a Librarian tool. So if you're stuck trying to find some of the resources that we talked about, hop on that Ask a Librarian button and they'll be able to point in the right direction for the Nat Geo Kids and the Science Online, all of that. It is summer, it's June, and that means we are in the middle of our summer reading program. So if you haven't yet, check your local library's branch schedule. We have so many programs in the libraries this summer. We have virtual programs as well. They're both going to be on that calendar at hcplc.org/events. And remember, if you haven't yet, you definitely want to sign up for summer reading. Get your Beanstack account set up and make sure you're tracking all of your summer reading. That is for kids, teens, and adults. We have 3 different age groups for summer reading, and all of them have some really, really fun prizes this year. We've got Nintendo Switches, we've got AirPod Pros, we've got all kinds of really, really cool prizes. So definitely make sure you're keeping track of your reading and make sure you're eligible for those drawings as they come along, hcplc.org/summer. All right, folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and some fun with your summer reading programs, and we'll see you at a branch soon. Bye, friends. We'll see you next time.